my name is Cyrus Janssen. I'm an American expat and China veteran for over 10 years. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down Michael Pompeo. Every time Secretary of State Michael Pompeo opens his mouth, the Chinese people love their country even more. Hi everybody, my name is Cyrus Janssen. I'm an American expat and entrepreneur. And in today's video, I'm going to be answering some questions about China. Now, I first came to China in 2007. I had an amazing job opportunity directly after college. I was 23 years old. I just graduated university and I decided to move from America to China to begin my career. Now, I started to learn Chinese because I wanted to fit into the local community. I wanted to actually live in China and, thrive there. And to be part of society, it's important to start learning that language and that culture. Now, the lasting impression that I've had on China after living there for 10 years is the fact that China is always changing. It's always evolving. It's always improving. And that's one of the big things that I see from the government. It takes a lot of the money and it reinvests into the communities, improving the infrastructure, improving the cities, the transportation. I lived in Shanghai starting in 2007. In 2010, Shanghai hosted the World Expo, the Shibohui. Now, this was an amazing time for Shanghai because it transformed the city. New metro lines were being built, new parts of the city were being developed, and it really improved the lives of the people in Shanghai. It was really an amazing time to see that, and every time I go back to not only Shanghai, but really any city in China, you can see how much the government reinvests into making the lives of the average people in China even better every day. Now, I know that the Chinese government often does say that they want a win-win situation, and I do believe you see this. I think you see China, striking new business deals with countries around the world. They're wanting to work with different countries around the world. And I think what I always try to preach is for American citizens, you look at how the average life of Americans has been improved by relationships with China. Simply the fact of look at all the products that Americans use on a daily basis, from the sneakers that you wear on your feet, to the cell phone that you hold in your hand, to your computers, to your televisions, to the household products that you have. Most of these are manufactured in China. And because they're manufactured in China, they are available to American consumers at a discounted price. So it's actually, Americans receive tremendous benefits from these relationships with China. It's really just as simple as that. It's not possible to manufacture all of these things inside the United States of America because it would be too expensive. So Americans have already benefited from this win-win situation. They just need to see this. We need to see that having a conflict with China and going down the path towards war is really going to be a lose-lose for not only China and America, but really for the entire world. Now, in my opinion, what can China do to change the bias against China? Well, this is very difficult for China because right now, anything that's said positively about China is considered propaganda. Even myself as an American, if I say something positive about China, right now people are saying, Cyrus, that's not being American. You are being anti-American. And my goal is always to promote cooperation. I want to see the United States and China both do well. When both of them do well, they have these strategic partnerships. I think it's a win-win for everybody involved. Now, I think for China, what they can do is one thing is to have, more expats and more foreigners like myself speak out. It's very difficult for Chinese to speak out because, they're often labeled as propaganda or, CCP bots or, things like this. They're often labeled as just propaganda machines. However, I think it's important to note that there's over literally hundreds of thousands of foreign expats that live in China and they prosper in China. They raise their families in China. They have businesses in China. China is much more open than it was, 30 years ago. And I think we need to start changing this perception. Still, so many people in the West think of China as it was 30 years ago. They don't realize how progressive and how open China really is. Now, one of the fundamental freedoms for Americans is the Second Amendment of the Constitution, which states the right to bear arms for American citizens. This means that American citizens can have guns. Now, for many Americans, they believe that having guns provides them safety And a lot of Americans will tell you this, that they also want to have guns just in case they cannot trust the government and they need to protect themselves from the government. Now, this type of thinking, I think, is actually very funny because when you look at as far as the size of the United States military, the military is the biggest and most powerful military unit in the entire world. The second most powerful unit is China's military. But if you were to take China's military and stack it against America, most likely China could not overtake America. America's military is just bigger, stronger, and it simply would not be able to fall to China. So it's very ironic that, China could not overtake America as far as the military speaking. However, American citizens think that by owning a gun, they somehow can overtake the American government if they needed to. That is the logic that is being presented here right now in America. Now, I think what's interesting as well is that many Americans feel that they need to impose their freedoms and their way of life and their government on different countries around the world. I've had many people reach out to me and say, Cyrus, we will never know what the people in China really want unless we give them a democracy and we give them the right to vote. You see, there must be a free and open election within China. That's the only way that we'll truly understand what Chinese people want. Now, what's interesting is that we see in China, there is not a system that allows Chinese citizens to vote for the president of China. Chinese citizens can't vote for the president. However, there is democracy in China. Of course, there's local elections that happen, and the political structure, the cultural difference is just very different. So I think there's just really a big cultural difference here. I don't think many Chinese people actually would want to vote for the president of China because China's system is very different. It's based on meritocracy. The only way for a president, the only way for a member of the Communist Party to become the president of China is to do a lot of work. They have to do 30 to 40 years of work and gain a tremendous amount of experience before they can rise to the top. And that's a very important part. And that's a very big difference in America. In America, democracy is really a popularity contest. You look at Donald Trump in 2016, he won that election because he's very popular and because he's a good speaker. He didn't win it based on political experience because he had zero. But that is the difference between these two. And I think it's important that we just need to realize that the world is big enough for more than one type of government to exist. Now, why do so many Americans still support Donald Trump, and why is he so popular in America? Now, in order to understand the answer to this question, we must go back in time to 2016 when Donald Trump first ran for president. And what he did is he brought a new element to politics in America. You see, Donald Trump was very popular because Donald Trump has been a celebrity figure in America for well over 40 years. In the early 1980s, when Donald Trump was a businessman in New York City, everybody knew about Donald Trump. He was very loud, he was outspoken, he was popular, he was developing real estate in New York, America's biggest and brightest city, and he was always a very entertaining and always in the limelight in America. And so what's interesting is that when you look at career politicians, most of them are very boring. And so when you look at a political debate, you're not really expecting anything surprising. You know what's going to happen. You're going to have two politicians. They're going to both be speaking very properly. It's going to be relatively boring. And this is what Donald Trump did. He brought, television, and he brought the celebrity status. He brought entertainment to politics. And this is what captivated the minds and the hearts of many Americans. You see, Donald Trump came in and he simply said something very simple. I want to make America great again. M-A-G-A, make America great again. That simple phrase was a very good marketing campaign because many Americans, they can relate with Donald Trump. They see him. He's a very straight talker, right? He doesn't talk like a politician. He says whatever he wants, whenever he wants. He doesn't watch his language. Sometimes he's very rude. He's very much outspoken. He doesn't act the way a president he doesn't act the way a typical president does. And for many Americans, they really can identify with that. And I think it was almost a very refreshing thing for many Americans to see because he did it in his own way. And this is what has changed so much in politics in America right now. If we look at the most recent debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, there was nothing political about that. It was just simply both of them, talking very rudely to each other, shouting back and forth, calling each other names. And this is what American politics has become because Donald Trump has really changed the game. He has brought in this entertainment value. People now are tuning into the debates because they know Donald Trump is going to say some very entertaining statements. He's going to make jokes. He's going to talk very rudely. He's going to talk disrespectfully. And although that's not acting like a president, it is very entertaining to watch. And this is why so many people, came out to the polls, voted, and they got behind Donald Trump. And this is why he remains very popular in America today. Well, I believe that, Donald Trump is definitely the favorite for the presidential election. I do believe that he will get reelected. I think Joe Biden is just not strong enough a candidate, and I believe that if, Donald Trump has really captivated a lot of Americans. He has a very loyal following. And what's interesting is once you go outside of America, you realize how unpopular Donald Trump is. Pretty much all over Europe and Canada, Australia, South America, Asia. I think most countries would not like to see Donald Trump win another 4 years in the White House. However, within the borders of America, the majority of people would actually like to see him win again. And this is something I think is very hard for many people around the world to understand. They don't see why Donald Trump is so popular within America, and people within America, they don't understand why people outside of America or outside around the world cannot understand why Donald Trump is so good. Americans do believe that their country is getting better, and they will get behind Donald Trump. However, my ideas for the future of America, I think that we're going to see America become more and more divided. I see the right and the left side becoming more and more divided, more and more extreme. And for myself, as an American expat that's been living abroad for 13 years, I simply look at America and I simply ask myself, is America better today in 2020 than it was 4 years ago in 2016? Now, I believe the answer to that is no. I don't believe that America has improved. I believe that we have regressed. I believe that our reputation on the global stage has regressed. I believe that many people around the world are simply sitting there scratching their heads saying, what is going on in America? Why is there so much violence, chaos, riots, protests? Why do they have such division in this country? America was the world leader for so many years, but it seems that it is just getting worse and worse every day. So for the immediate future, I don't see, America improving. However, for myself as an American, I am looking forward to 2024 because I think that we need to have a new leader rise up. I don't believe that Donald Trump or Joe Biden is the leader that America needs to see to really bring the change that America needs in 2020. So already I'm looking forward to the next 4 years, and I'm hoping that we can have a new leader in 2024. That's a very interesting quote from Mr. Lou Don saying that Donald Trump has set a new standard for American presidents and has set the agenda for American politics for the next 100 years. Now, I believe what he means by that is Donald Trump has changed the way politics are perceived in America. You see, Donald Trump has proven that you do not need any political experience to become the president of the United States. And like I mentioned earlier in this video, democracy very much is a popularity game. Let's take you back to 2004. In 2004, Senator Barack Obama, he was a senator for the state of Illinois. He gave a keynote speech at the 2004 Democratic National Convention. Now, at that time, Barack Obama was relatively unknown on the national stage in America. Most Americans did not know anything about Barack Obama. But what was amazing is he went up on stage and he gave an incredible speech. He gave an incredible speech that really captivated everybody in America because Barack Obama is an excellent speaker. And because of that, many people felt, wow, this guy has an amazing chance to become the next president of the United States. And he did that in 2008. Obviously, Barack Obama became the next president, and he ended up serving for 8 years. But the main reason that Barack Obama won is because of his public speaking, because he was popular. And that is essentially how America works. It is a popularity contest. Again, in 2016, Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton because Hillary Clinton was a career politician. Hillary Clinton is not entertaining. You don't watch Hillary Clinton on a debate or on live television because you're going to see something entertaining. You know that she's, relatively boring. She's very, standard, your standard politician. And I think many people saw Donald Trump come to the stage, and then they saw him being very captivating. He was very entertaining. You never knew what Donald Trump was going to say, and that's why so many people wanted to watch his debates. So I think in one sense, Lou Dobbs is correct here, is that Donald Trump has changed the game of politics. For instance, maybe we're going to see another celebrity, maybe a famous musician or another celebrity run for president and actually win because of their popularity. Maybe that is what the author is saying. But I don't believe that this current United States is really the future. If the United States continues down this path, I think we're just going to see more and more division within the United States, and I believe that you're going to see the United States becoming weaker and weaker. We need to see the United States learn to work together. The left and the right side, it used to be very close to the middle, but now they're so far apart from each other that the left and the right look at each other as enemies. We need to get back to the point that we are all Americans here, and that Americans need to work together. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. At the end of the day, you are an American, and you need to work together to make sure that America moves forward. Now, I believe that this is China's greatest political advantage, is that every 4 years they do not have to subject themselves to a national election that creates division and hatred within a country. This is exactly what happens every 4 years in America. America becomes more and more divided, and right now, families are being broken apart because of politics. Friendships are being lost because of politics. People, in America are becoming more and more divided. But China is a one-party state. They don't have to worry about that. And this is what I see as China's greatest political advantage. Every year they can move forward knowing that they have that stability. In China, you cannot change the party, but it's very easy to change policies. And we see this with China. China is very progressive. They're very forward-thinking, and they're always asking themselves, how do we improve as a country? How do we make China better today and for future generations? And in America, you can change parties. You can change from Democrat to Republican, from Republican back to Democrat. It's very easy to change the parties, but it's very hard to change the policies. And this is why America struggles to make this progress in recent years, because so much of it is spent on fighting amongst each other instead of working together. Now, I hope that America can improve this in the future, but for the time being, I think that America is going to continue its decline until we have a new leader rise up that really preaches that both sides need to work together. And for the time being, I believe that China is going to only continue to improve. More and more people in China are going to see their standard of life, their quality of life continue to be raised. And I think this is why China will very soon overtake America as the #1 world power, because they are moving forward as a united nation with well over 90%. And you can see that in many national polls that are conducted in China. Most of Chinese people are very supportive of the government there. And why would they not? Look at the last 30 years. Look at what China has been able to accomplish. The future looks very bright for China indeed. Now, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I love sharing my insights about China. I used to live in China for 10 years. I have a big heart for the people of China. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you in a future video and interview.